Hey, welcome to devlog number 7. This is a new drop command devlog, and my name is Matthew. Drop command is a mech-based combat sim with first-person combat, squad-based orders, and large tactical battles. You'll be able to play as infantry, tanks, mechs, aircraft, and hopefully a lot more. It has been almost 2 months since our last devlog, and I have a lot to show you for the time spent. I've split the video into 3 segments. First, we'll talk about what's new in drop command, then I'll talk a little bit about what our latest game design challenges are, and then I'll tell you what's coming next for drop command. So let's talk about what's new to the game. There are a few new elements that I want to go over, and those are Procedural Terrain, Procedural Trees, a new Biome, 2 new Mechs, a new mission type. First we'll talk about terrain. We've added the first location to the official star map, a binary system with 2 blue stars. This system will eventually have several planets and moons, but for now we have a single planet with several biomes. An awesome addition to drop command is the random terrain generator. I've spent a lot of time between the last devlog and this one developing a procedural terrain mesh generator that we can use to create the stylized and unique biomes at runtime. This will make it so that the missions feel fresh and interesting every time you play. Creating the terrain generator is the biggest reason why this devlog took 2 months instead of the usual 1 month. It was a lot of work, but I think it was worth it. To generate the terrain, we start with a completely flat mesh. Then we build up the height map data in layers, usually using several sets of purlin noise. Once we have the height map data, we use a hexagonal kernel to stamp across the terrain, transforming the smooth height map into the stylized hexagonal terrain we want for drop command. After everything else is finished, we apply a boundary rectifier so that the ground outside the mission zone is flat. Currently, the rectifier leaves us with an obvious rectangular region, but in the future I'd like to work more on this and make the terrain blend more seamlessly with the surroundings. Next up, I've been promising new procedural trees for quite a while now, and although they're still a work in progress, it is finally time to put them into the game. At terrain generation time, a set of 3 meshes are generated, and they're used to populate the map. The jungle has dense trees of all sizes, including some truly gargantuan monsters. The desert has more scraggly cacti, which are a lot sparser and generally smaller than the jungle trees are. As we introduce more planets and more biomes to the game, we'll start to see a larger variety of tree types. In order to make new terrain templates easy to manage, I set up a few useful data structures. Some of those are biome specific, and some are planet specific. Some of them are mission specific, and this makes it simple for me to create new biome templates to adjust mission parameters, add additional drop zones, or change the foliage rule sets. These tools should be very handy moving forward. You've already seen the sandy desert biome in several of my previous devlogs, and you've also seen the newer jungle biome. But what you haven't seen yet is the brand new rocky Highlands biome. I'm definitely excited to show this one off. It features rolling hills atop craggy cliffs and deep ravines. This new terrain highlights some of the current AI deficiencies, however. For example, the AI doesn't do too well when it has to fight from a low ground position, when it doesn't have flight capability or jump jets. I'm going to need to work on that for the future, so I'll add that to my to-do list. We have 2 new mechs in the game now, a frontline medium mech called the Sentinel, and coming from our other game, Mech Shuffle, we have the Taurus. If you're coming to this video straight from devlog number 6, you'll recognize that I have a backlog of 8 new mechs to add to drop command. Each new unit requires a lot of fine-tuning and playtesting to get it just right. I need to spend some of my time implementing new features, so I'll be continuing to add a few new units with every devlog for the foreseeable future, rather than doing a dump of 8 mechs all at once. The first new mech that I want to show you is the Taurus. If you've tried Mech Shuffle, you'll recognize this heavy-hitting Goliath of a mech. It doesn't move fast, and it doesn't have much in the way of maneuverability. But what it lacks in that regard, it makes up for with tremendous amounts of firepower. In a straight-up fight, the Taurus is going to win in most 1v1 brawls. If you need to take one out, it's probably best to gang up on it, or snipe it from a distance. The second new mech is my favorite one to pilot so far. The Sentinel is a unique chassis with a large shield arm on its right side. It has decent firepower, and the shield arm means that a skilled pilot can greatly increase their own survivability. The Sentinel specializes in leading the charge towards an entrenched enemy because it can absorb plenty of damage on its shield. It also has a good number of weapon hardpoints for a medium mech, with 2 in the shoulder and 2 in the left arm. The Sentinel's major weakness is the left side torso. If you can take out the left side, then the Sentinel will be completely defanged, losing all of its weaponry. Eventually, I want Drop Command to have a fully procedural campaign, spanning a full star cluster, with the player progressing from a rookie pilot to a squad leader, all the way up to full battlefield commander. I'm starting to work on the code infrastructure necessary for this, but we're a long way off from achieving this ambitious goal. The very first step towards my dream of a fully procedural campaign will be to implement a large number of procedural mission types. For this reason, I've added the first mission type to the game. When Drop Command is finished, there will be a large variety of mission types with different mission objectives and interesting scenarios. For now, we have to start small, build up the tools necessary so that we can later have more complicated missions. The first mission being added is a simple squad versus squad brawl. In this mission type, you join a single squad of 4 units with the objective of destroying an opposing squad of similar strength. Both squads arrive in the contested area via their own dropships. Each squad also has a chance of spawning with air support units, which may already be embroiled in conflict when your units arrive. So far we have all of that implemented, but what we don't have yet are the victory and loss conditions, objective tracking, a battle map showing terrain, a waypoint HUD, all those bells and whistles. These are all getting added to my to-do list. That's it for the main additions to the game for this devlog. Now I want to talk about the current issues and challenges that I'm trying to work through. I have a tremendous amount of work cut out for me in order to create more missions. I have a large wish list of mission types to add to the game, and each one will require lots of special attention. Some of them are going to need new models, new terrain specifications, new AI behaviors, others might need extra scripted events. All of them are going to need additional programming and more mission generation tools. In particular, I need to be able to generate the procedural mission objectives, have them tracked, and have those tie into the win and loss conditions. With the generated missions underway, I'm almost at the point where I need to start working on the strategic AI. Designing the strategic AI is going to take some time. I know roughly what systems it will need to work with. For example, the strategic AI needs to know what the mission objectives are, and what the player objectives are, what tools it has available, and how to use those tools. It is going to need to interact with a squad leader AI to issue orders to specific squads, and it will need to be able to track the tactical situation so that it can respond to the changing battlefield conditions. Let's talk about what's next for Drop Command. Over the next month or two, I have a few things that I really want to work on. I think we're ready to introduce more complexity to the weapon systems. One way I want to do this is to introduce hardpoint sizes. For example, an infantry unit should be able to equip a variety of small arms weapons to complement their anti-mech missiles. Mechs should have an array of small and medium-sized hardpoints. This will allow them to fit different weapon types and have different roles based on the hardpoints available. Dropships and defensive emplacements might have very large hardpoints for mounting devastatingly huge weapons. Another level of complexity I want to add are damage and armor types. Some weapons should perform better against infantry or better against air units. Siege weapons should be devastating against buildings and infrastructure. By adding these nuances to the weapons, there will be a lot more strategic thought that can be put into choosing which weapons to equip for each unit. Do you want a specialized squad to deal with opposing air units? A hit squad to move in fast and take out a target of opportunity? Or maybe a more general purpose squad that can perform adequately against most opponents? I think we're also ready to add a new weapon to the player's arsenal. I think a flamethrower would be awesome, and it would be devastating against infantry units, probably fairly weak against armored units like mechs and tanks. If we decide to implement an overheat mechanic, then the flamethrower could also see use as a utility weapon to shut down opponents riding their heat high. I'm curious to know what you all think of heat mechanics in mech games. I've always enjoyed the extra tension that it adds to a combat situation, where you really want to fire off that alpha strike and finish off your opponent, but doing so could leave you vulnerable to a counterattack from their friends while your heat is dissipating. Should drop command implement a heat system? I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts on this. I already mentioned that I have a backlog of units to choose from to add to the game next, and if we're adding in the flamethrower, it might be the right time to put in the dodo. The dodo is a fan favorite from Mech Shuffle, a light mech with a very fast engine, excellent jump jets, and very heat efficient weapons. The primary configuration includes several flamethrowers for anti-infantry. It specializes in harassment of the slower mechs. Finally, I would also like to add 1 or 2 more mission types to the game as I flesh out more of the game's mission systems. I'll leave those as a surprise for next time. If you have an idea for a mission type you want to see, feel free to leave suggestions in the comments below. If they sound awesome, then I'll definitely add them to the list of missions that we'll be adding over time. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the next devlog when it's ready. If you're already subscribed, then check out our other game, Mech Shuffle, and drop a Steam review if you've played it. In any case, I hope you're enjoying these devlogs. The next one will be ready in a month or 2, and I can't wait to have more progress to share. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.